Hey guys, this is Kronix, and today I'm going to show you the Shenlong monk build. First of all, you're going to need the Mask of the Searing Sky and the full set. So you need the chestplate, Heart of the Crashing Wave, the gloves, Fists of Thunder, the pants, Scales of the Dancing Serpent, and the boots, 8 demon boots. Now all these sets increase your spirit generators by 25% increased attack speed and 100% damage. Now the spirit generator we're using, and the only damage that you actually have going out, is Crippling Wave. And you have the Mangle rune on it to make it fire damage, 255% fire damage. And then each hit, after every third hit, you're going to slow their movement speed and attack speed by 20%. So it's really good to stay alive as well. You can take quite high torments with this, like very high. It's viable for Season 8, 9, and it's still viable in Season 10. So with this set, 4 set is completely irrelevant right now. We're going to go right to the 6 set, and it makes sense why the 4 set goes. So this 6 set makes it so your spirit generators have the weapon damage of dashing strike increased to 12,500%. You don't actually use dashing strike to get damage. It's not how the build works. What works is the second half of this 6 set bonus. So dashing strike increases the damage of your spirit generators by 1,250% for 6 seconds. That means you want to keep dashing at people for 6 seconds. I'll quickly show you how this works. So here we are in the Weeping Hollow, right? Now if I dash at them, that right there, that's what you're going on. This right here, okay? So you don't get it when you dash normally, but if you dash into someone, then it'll give you it. See? Like that. That's what you're going for. Alright, the second item you want to get is Spirit Guards. Now ideally you want to roll what I've rolled here. You want to roll critical hit chance. Always want that on 6% on almost every build. You need Vitality and Dexterity. Obviously Dexterity for damage, Vitality for survivability. And you want Fire Skill % damage. Because you're only attacking, your only DPS move is the Crippling Wave Mangle. And because it is a Spirit Generator, you instantly get 40% damage reduction for 3 seconds. So while you're hitting, that's another 40% damage reduction. Okay, these are also the shoulders you want. I'm not even going to try and pronounce that name. What they do is, with Cyclone Strike, it reduces your damage taken by 46% for 5 seconds. So every time you use Cyclone Strike, it's going to pull them in and reduce damage taken. Now, we use Implosion, because we don't actually want... The only DPS we have here is Fire, so we can stack Fire with those. Your Spirit Guards. So you just want to pull them in and just keep hitting them and hitting them. That's all it is. But the trouble is, because it only lasts for 5 seconds, you want to keep using Cyclone Strike every 5 seconds, or else you're going to take almost 50% damage reduction off your guy. So you need to keep dashing at them every 6 seconds for this, for the 1,250% bonus, and you also want to keep pulling them in every 5 seconds to get that as well. And while you're hitting, you get the additional 40% damage reduction. Okay, now right now I'm using the Witching Hour as a belt. It's not too bad. It's all right. An alternative one to use is String of Ears to reduce damage from melee attacks. I'm going on full out damage right now. I'm not too worried about survivability. I can survive for a while, but at beginning, if you do find String of Ears, that's really good as well. Just reduces damage from melee attacks by 29%, which is quite viable. Really, really good. Now I'm using the solo build, so I use the Templar. And on the Templar, I'm going to give him the Unity and the Oculus Ring. Now you have to find a favor that makes it so they cannot die, and you give him Unity, because if you use Unity as well as him and he can't die, that automatically means that you have another 50% damage reduction just from that. So that's another 50% added on to the up to 50% from there, and up to 40% just from there. So you're stacking up damage reduction, and the fact that you're a monk also increases your damage reduction by 30%. Now, we've also given him the Oculus Ring because it creates a circle where you're going to do 73% more damage standing in it. Now, that's not 73% damage onto your 255% from Mangle, right? That's 73% damage overall of your sheet damage. You're almost doing double damage overall. Now, the way it works in Great Rifts is because you always have Dashing Strike for the set bonus for here, you want to dash and then pull them in with Cyclone Strike, and then hit them in that circle. And when that disappears, you keep fighting them until another one appears. You basically want to stay in that circle for as long as you can. That's where you're going to get all of your DPS. Another option for rings is Convection of Elements. This is great if you're in a group. Obviously, Unity, you're not going to get the benefits from it. But Convection of Elements, you will get that proc which can go up to 200%. Mine's only 167. It's not the best roll. It's okay in terms of primary stats, but the actual legendary stat is not particularly great. But you want to roll something very similar to this. Very similar with these primary stats as well. And then this is going to help you just hit those procs. When you do hit fire damage, you're going to hit double. Okay, almost double. Now for weapons, you want to use the Shenlong's Fist set. Right, now you need Shenlong's Relentless Assault and the Fist of Legends. So both of these mean that your spirit generators are increased by 1.5% damage for each point of spirit you have. So if you go on your Paragons, you want to max out your spirit. You want to make sure you have the highest amount of spirit you have, because the more spirit you have, the more damage you do. Now I wouldn't go crazy and look at all your different, armors and see if you can get some spirit bonus on them. Like if you can, that's great, but it's not. You don't need it. Okay. There is 50% on there, plus 15, but it's not tons. I mean, if you can roll it and you're kind of looking for the tiniest way to upgrade your character, then go ahead. But with Shenlong's Fist of Legend and this whole set, the next one, the problem with these gloves and the whole set is that you have to juggle the second feature on here. It says when you're reaching maximum spirit, all damage is increased by 150%. So when you're at the highest here, you hit another 150% on top of each point, okay? But you no longer passively regenerate spirit, and 65 spirit is drained every second until you run out of spirit. So the point is to keep as much spirit as you can, because eventually that's going to go down to 0 and you're not going to hit any damage, and you need a little, you can't keep hitting and hitting and hitting while this is draining. You're going to need to back away for a second and then quickly come back to him. It only takes a couple seconds for your spirit to deplete, going down at 65 a second. So it's literally only going to take about 2-3 seconds out of battle and then dash right back in. So it's the upkeep of this which is going to keep you going. Now because it takes so much, we use Breath of Heaven infused with light is the rune we use to gain an additional 14 spirit. So every spirit generating attack is going to give you 14 additional spirit as with the 12 that you're going to use with Mangle. So you can stay at that for 5-10 seconds. You can stay at that for a little while. If you're going for a speed build and you're not worried about survivability, so you're doing some speed Great Rifts for instance, you would have to drop your shoulders and swap them out for the Fists of Thunder set. Okay? Now you could use the Eye of Peshkov. Now that reduces the cooldown of Breath of Heaven by 46%, so you can keep stacking Breath of Heaven, ideally getting more spirit and staying at that full max to get the 150% damage bonus with 1.5% damage for every point of spirit you have. Now in my cube, I use the Rogue, because you need to use the Rogue in the cube really. Either the Rogue or the Convection of Elements you want in the cube. Now you need Depth Diggers as your armor slot, so primary skills that generate resource deal 100% additional damage, because all your DPS is coming from primary skill generators. Now as your weapon slot, you want the Flying Dragon, because there is a chance, it doesn't specify, but it's quite often that you're going to double your attack speed when attacking, and this lasts for about 5 or 6 seconds. If you watch my character right now, I'll show the effects of Flying Dragon. So normal hitting is this. It's quite fast, it's good for a monk, it's nothing crazy, but you'll see once you hit that proc, once you hit that percentage, it doesn't specify what percentage it is, you will just start hitting twice as fast. Okay, now we're hitting with the Flying Dragon. That is very, very fast. It doesn't last for ages, but it lasts for a little while, enough for you to normally kill whoever you're facing. Now as for your passives, you want to have Beacon of Yatar for reduced cooldowns. You need Electricity for increased attack speed of spirit generators, so more DPS. You need Seize the Initiative, so you're dealing damage to enemies above 75% in life, increases your attack speed, so attack speed goes up even more. And you want Harmony for more survivability, 40% of every single element resistance. For your primary skills, you're also going to want to use Epiphany with the Desert Shroud rune to reduce your damage by 50%, another 50% damage reduction on your character. You're going to want to use Blinding Speed with Dashing Strike, so you gain another 40% increased chance to dodge. Of course, we're using Crippling Wave and Mangle as our main DPS. We are also using Cyclone Strike with Implosion to pull from far away. For mantras, we're going to use the Mantra of Salvation with Agility. So we also have a 35% increased dodge chance, and the mantra itself gives you 20% resistance to all elements. That stacked with the Harmony is going to give you another 60% resistances through everything. Okay, Now we're going to jump in and I'm going to show you what this is like. So you need to keep hitting Cyclone Strike every 5 seconds. You need to dash every 6 seconds. You want to keep Epiphany up as much as you can while keeping an eye on your spirit and keeping that as high as you can as well. So we're just doing a Great Rift 60. Just to, sorry, 70.
That ability is not yet recharged.
So you can just pull everyone in. Make sure you have all your things on. Now look, now that is dashing. That's the ability of this build.
I must wait to use that ability.
You can stack up very, very high damage.
It is not ready yet.
See now, these are the circles that I'm talking
Not
about.
enough spirit.
You really want to stand in these and then grab them in here.
I must wait to use that ability. It cannot be done.
So you see right now, I'm not doing crazy amounts of damage because I haven't dashed. Now I've dashed, their health's going to fly down.
I have been healed. That ability is not yet recharged. I am returning to town. It is not ready yet.